Hello everybody, my name's Spooki, and today we are taking a look at the brand new massive Season 6 patch notes for Overwatch 2. We're going to be giving you my take on them, what's cool, what's not cool, what's going to be OP, and what's going to be absolute dookie shoes in the new season. So let's get this thing started. Getting into it, we got introducing Illari. So using solar threading augmentation, Illari strikes down her enemies by harnessing the power of the sun. We took a look at her in the training ground, and I will say she's looking pretty good, especially for healing. Not too bad. She has no damage fall off with the rifle, so damage is going to be okay. It's not a huge amount of damage that we noticed, but her ultimate is going to be absolutely game winning. Or should I say fight winning. It's definitely going to be a win condition, the way that it functions, and we'll kind of go over how that functions here in a little bit. So first off, Illari, so her solar rifle, her long range auto charging rifle. She has her solar rifle, which is kind of like a beam, like Zarya beam, which is a medium range healing beam that consumes solar energy. We have an outburst, launches you in the direction you are moving, knocking back enemies. Hold jump to go higher. So it's a little bit of a combination of like a Farrah concussion plus Baptiste, the jet boots, whatever you want to call it. So it's a combination that makes it really good for counter dives. So when you get dove as a support, it's very easy to push the divers away from you and get up in the air. So it buys you a little bit of time to react to those dives. So it's gonna be pretty good. Healing pylon, we've looked at this, does a pretty decent amount of healing, sorry, and also has a very large range, and it's indefinite until it gets destroyed by the enemies. So this is going to be probably one of your biggest sources of healing is your healing pylon. It's literally a piece of equipment that you throw where you want it to, and then it heals people in line of sight, or kind of around corners sometimes. And it just does pulse healing, and it's a pretty decent amount of healing. So this is definitely going to be a big part of your kit. And then finally, her ultimate captive sun. You fire an explosive ball of energy, which does damage. But then on top of that, the enemies are slowed and explode after taking significant damage. So this means, especially if they're grouped up, that means every single time that a hero takes additional damage on top, like a certain amount of damage on top of that, we don't know the numbers yet, but when they take that damage, they also explode and do damage to nearby enemies as well. So this could really cause a chain reaction to do a lot of exploding damage for team comps that are much more grouped together. So it's going to be a very big bunker buster, very big brawl buster ultimate, and it's going to be a fight winner. It's definitely going to be a win condition ultimate, similar to EMP, similar to Mayfreeze or Grav. I'm probably going to put it up there with that, especially for those comps that stay much closer together. So it's going to be pretty good. We got our new game mode Flashpoint, which we've taken a look at, the new Flashpoint mode, and then on top of that we have the firing range, which finally after 7 years has gotten an addition to it. We've been begging. It's not a huge change, but they've changed the firing range. Finally, we've been begging for something just more intuitive, and I will say it's a little bit more intuitive. Adds a shield tank bot hero, adds some more different variations on the bots, some more moving targets and stuff like that. But anything is good, dude. I've been asking for changes to the firing range for so long. And looks like we finally got some competitive play updates. Looks like the top 500 leaderboard here. Sorry if I'm in the way for you guys. Top 500 leaderboard. The number of wins required to appear on the top 500 leaderboard has been increased from 25 to 50 for consistency with our other competitive game modes. So this means that you're gonna have to win 50. Like they had this for open queue and for top 500 mystery heroes. And I'm just gonna say, dude, those 50 wins are just grueling for those secondary game modes, because most people are playing role queue, you know. Now for role queue, for most of us that are really up at that top 500 level, this isn't going to change much. Like obviously we play more than 50 games, but it looks like your minimum amount that you're gonna have to play in a season is gonna be like 100 games around that to get top 500 status. So I don't know about you, but I play this game just about full time during the week, like at least 40 hours. And I have about 300 games. So I don't know if I agree with that, but man, the 50 wins is a lot of time. It's a lot of time, so we'll see that. All right, finally to the hero changes. First off, armor health reduction is now additive with other sources of damage reduction. It has a maximum cap of 50%. So they've changed that a little bit on how armor functions. Tank changes. Diva's boosters cooldown reduced from 4 to 3.5 seconds, so she's gonna be able to fly around a little bit faster, get that booster cooldown a little bit more quickly. Eject mech pilot is now damage immune for 0.4 seconds while ejecting. That means that she's gonna have about a half a second of being immune. So gone are the days of Diva getting sniped immediately out of getting mech. A lot of Diva players will like this, as it's pretty easy to predict where the Diva is going to eject from, which makes it a very easy target to just eliminate very quickly. Doomfist Seismic Slam cooldown reduced from 7 to 6 seconds. I don't like this. I still think Doom has way too much mobility, but you know, if they want to buff that a little bit, we'll see if that changes anything. Power Block now reduces damage from stuck projectiles as well, which for Bastion players out there, I love shooting my sticky bomb at Doomfist because it didn't really get the damage reduction, so now that will. I think that's a good quality of life update, though. It keeps consistent with the damage reduction. Ramatra Block Nemesis form. Block now reduces damage from stuck projectiles as well, keeping that consistent with Doomfist as well. The Annihilation ultimate cost has been increased by 12%. Thank you, Lord, dude. I feel like he got this way too quickly, and there were way too many fights where I had to track Annihilation. Such a game-winning ult, too. So I love that the ultimate cost has been increased by a significant amount. 12% is quite a bit. Block now reduces damage from stuck projectiles, obviously on Annihilation as well when you're using that. Okay, so for Sigma, base movement, ground deceleration increased to match standard hero's movement. This looks like it's just going to be a quality of life thing. So he's just going to be, they go over it in detail here on how that functions. Yeah, that not too much different there for Sigma. That just seems like a quality of life thing. All right, fix the camera there. And then Winston's coming up next. His Tesla cannon secondary fire charge time reduced from 1.5 to 1 second. Okay, that means he's going to be able to snipe a little bit more quickly. I think it's pretty good. I feel like the charge time was a little bit long to get that full damage. And this is going to make Winston much more, not much more, but a little bit more threatening at a distance, which I think it will output, give him a lot more damage output, especially in between fights. So this, I think it's pretty good for Winston. It's a buff. We'll see. Secondary fire recovery time increased from 0.5 to 0.5 seconds. All right, so the balance here is that it takes you a little bit more time to recover from shooting. So this seems like it's not too much of a change. It actually might be a nerf now, because it adds an extra 0.05 seconds to the overall use of it. It just means the charge up time is probably going to feel more natural on what a normal amount of time to charge that thing up is and then shoot it. But the recovery time is going to be a little bit longer, which will make it overall a little bit less damage, it seems. So it's a little bit of a nerf. Moving on to the DPS, Bastion. Oh man, they did a lot to his sticky bomb. I'm excited to see this. His tactical grenade maximum explosion damage fall off reduced from 70% to 50%. So it looks like his maximum damage fall off is going to be less. So that means the maximum outer edges of the radius that you can take damage from it, you're going to be taking a little bit more damage than you were before. So this is a little bit of a buff to that. Detonation time reduced from 0.5 to 0.35 seconds. So it's going to explode much more quickly. Doesn't really change that much about how it functions. I think they just wanted it to go off quicker. So that doesn't really change too much. Recoil adjusted to recover more quickly. Projectile size increased from 0.2 to 0.25, so it's bigger. His impact damage increased from 15 to 30. They doubled the impact damage too. Oh wait, this is gonna make Sticky Bomb really good. So that extra 15 damage there is gonna it's gonna secure, in my opinion, a lot more eliminations. Because you get the impact damage, and then it's an additional amount of damage for hitting that direct contact with the sticky bomb. Sorry, that's just how I always call it now. Okay, wow, they really buffed this one. I like that. His configuration recon reload time reduced from 1.5 to 1.2 seconds. His reload time got buffed. is transforming into configuration assault now, repairs 50 armor health, and then his artillery targeting state movement increased from 20 to 25 meters per second. All right, so he can target faster too. Bro, they buffed Bastion so hard. Oh, not that I'm complaining, dude. I played Bastion so much this season, and I thought he was fine. I thought he was pretty effective in my opinion, at least how we played him. Man, they buffed him big time. So we'll probably be seeing a lot more Bastion this season for sure. Cassidy, base health increase from 200 to 225. All right, we're going back. This isn't Cassidy's first time going back to 225. He's been there before. In my opinion, he was very bulky at that 225, but I will say Cassidy is still very vulnerable. He's supposed to be like a brawl hit scan, and he doesn't really get to play like that because he's very weak. This extra 25 health will probably help that a little bit. Peacekeeper damage fall off range rescaled from 25 to 45 meters to 25 to 35 meters. So now his fall off range is going to be shorter though. So I think they really want Cassidy to be more of a brawl hero. I think that's what they're doing. They're balancing this out. They want him to play more as a brawl instead of being able to absolutely one tap or two tap people from super far away with the Mercy damage boost. I'm totally down with this, dude. I got so annoyed by the Mercy pocket on Cassidy, just going pa pa, just popping off. A Mei player is 250 HP, which is like just knocked me out like that. One headshot, one body shot. Damage boosted just took me out of the game. It was getting kind of annoying, but I like that they're making him more of a brawl hero. That's what he's meant to be. His fire rate is meant to be more of a close range thing, so I think this makes sense. Magnetic grenade projectile now has a maximum travel time of 1.5 seconds. And then the slow amount reduced from 30 to 25%, which is great. I feel like the magnetic grenade still, it's 25%, in my opinion, is still too much. Magnetic grenade just absolutely grounds you to a halt. Not as much as Ramatra's thing, his little slowy thing. That is so annoying, but you know, this is a good balance here. All right, for Hanzo, looks like we just have one change on his storm bow. His arrow draw progress is no longer preserved while wall climbing. I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently this probably wasn't intended, so I think this might have just been a little bug thing. Soldier 76, his helix rocket explosion damage reduced from 90 to 80. Cool, we got our soldier nerfs, and his tactical visor ultimate cost increased by 10%. I don't think this was an issue. The helix rocket damage going down, I think is pretty good. The combo was just too powerful. Getting a one little headshot and then hitting the helix rocket and then another just quick little body shot eliminated most heroes, which made him a little bit OP, especially with the Mercy damage boost, which is usually, you know, where we come to our DPS problems is when Mercy's damage boosting a hero that's just a little bit OP, that gets amplified a lot. So this is a good start. I still think Soldier's gonna be a pretty good pick though. Sombra, her EMP ultimate cost is increased by 15% and no longer destroys Lifeweaver's Tree of Life. I think this is more just because Lifeweaver's Tree of Life sucks butts, and they're like, you know, we probably shouldn't make it to where Tree of Life just gets destroyed instantly. So I think this is good. I would love it if they reverted the fact that EMP destroyed May's Blizzard. Again, that's just, in my opinion, not necessary. And Jaden's over here laughing right now because I've been complaining about it so much. But the ultimate increase is good. It's EMP is such a game or fight winning ultimate. I don't think she'd be able to get it as fast as she does. I feel like a good Sombra can get EMP almost every fight, which is good. You know, Sombra needs to not just play for ultimate all the time. You definitely need to play into her character a little bit more. So this makes sense to me. I like this. Torbjorn, weapon swap time reduced from 0.5 to 0.4 seconds. They're going even quicker. They're going even quicker. So the rivet gun primary fire recovery time reduced from 0.55 to 0.48 seconds, and then swing recovery time reduced from 0.5 to 0.6 seconds. All right, I'm telling you, dude, Overwatch wants Torb players to use hammer in fights. I've been seeing it in every single patch update, and it's now confirmed. They want Torbjorn players to use hammer as a legitimate way to play the game, and I'm all for it. Sure, I don't, you know, it's scary as hell seeing a Torbjorn run at you with a hammer and actually getting kills with it, but I think now it's actually going to be an integral part of his kit, especially in those close range fights. Moving on to Ana. In our support classes here. No changes on May, I don't think, the other I saw. Ana, so her biotic rifle damage and healing per projectile has been reduced from 75 to 70. Oh, so sad. I love DPS Ana. It's so much fun. Unscoped projectile size increased from 0 to 0.1. Okay, so we've never had a projectile size increase on her unscope projectiles, so they're now increasing it by just a little bit. This means when you unscope, you use hip fire, it's going to be a little bit easier to hit friendlies and enemies with your hip fire, with just that little bit increase in projectile size. So for Brig, her barrier shield health has been reduced from 300 to 250, which I think is pretty good. Her shield was getting pretty bulky. I'd say it blocked a decent amount, and especially like I was trying to melt her with like Bastion or like Hanzo, and her shield held up pretty well against long range, which I feel like that shield should be used again to kind of negate close range heroes, but she was being able to use it to survive just long range like really easily. So I think that's why they reduced it. I assume that you could probably read the developer comment on why they wanted to do that, but that's my opinion. Rally ultimate cost increased by 6%. I don't think that's a huge change. It wasn't an issue. I don't think it's going to change that much of anything either. So not a huge change there. Kiriko. Now here's the meat and potatoes. I hope we got a lot changed on this. Kiri, in my opinion, just still insanely good support. Way too much utility, way too much mobility, way too much damage, and way too much value on her ultimate. Let's see how they change this here. Protection Suzu knockback has been removed. I think that was just something that it was just a little annoying. Didn't really add too much to the game, and it was just annoying when it did do something. Healing reduced from 50 to 40, so a little bit less healing from that Protection Suzu. Now heals for an additional 30 health when cleansing a negative effect. So like it says, if you're like antied, or if you're hindered, or if you're, sleeping, that means when you get cleansed, it's going to heal an extra 30 health on top of that. So this might mean there's a little bit of a counterplay to it. So using that cleanse is going to be much more useful to use it quickly on heroes that are experiencing negative effects, and it's also going to mean it's going to be very big when a group gets antied from Ononate. To use that cleanse, the healing is just going to shoot up for 4. I mean, if you get 4 heroes antied and then cleanse, that's an additional 120 healing instantly on top of Suzu's 40 healing that it does. So it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna mean Ana players, if you're playing against a Kiri and you nade and they have Suzu, you better expect that Suzu to be used. But with that being said, it means the counterplay is going to be there, where you can use nade to force out Suzu and then use an ultimate so it doesn't get countered by that Suzu more often. So a lot of times they would hold it for that anti so they could block a really big ultimate. That means it's going to be a much more big of a counterplay for that Suzu. So obviously, in my opinion, still a nerf to Suzu. Still a nerf with the reduced healing, but I think it means they just want you to use it in situations that are less about negating ults and more about cleansing your team of negative effects. So kunai damage increased from 40 to 45. Oh boy. Recovery time reduced from 0.55 to 0.5 seconds. Critical damage multiplier, oh bless. Okay, this is a nerf. Reduced from 3 to 2.5 times. All right, so this means instead of 3 times damage multiplier on crit shots, it's only gonna be 2.5. So for example, if you hit a crit shot with Kiriko, you'd be doing your base damage of 40 times 3, which would be 120 damage on headshots. But now it's gonna be 45 times 2.5, which is going to be 90 plus 22.5, so 112 or 113, I think is the number. Probably doing math wrong there. But it's a little bit of a nerf to her damage for her crit shots. So we love that. We love that. I think Kiriko is just way too damage heavy. She can just do too much too well. And I think from all the DPS Kirikos I've been playing against, she can do it really well. So I'm glad they're reducing that. Lifeweaver. All right, let's see some controversial changes here. His base health has been reduced from 200 to 175. Okay. Wait. Okay. Base shield health increased from 0 to 50. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so he gets a little bit of a buff to his overall health pool, 175 in base health, and he gets 50 on shields. This means this also regenerates when he's just chilling around. So this is definitely obviously a buff. It makes it, it's going to mean he's going to be a little bit more bulky, which is good because his hitbox is very large. It's very tanky of a hitbox. So this is going to make much more sense to have him a little bit more bulky of a support player. Thorn Valley, man, there are so many. Bro, there are so many spelling it, like just so many errors in this patch notes. It's killing me. Thorn Volley. His reduced spread for one of the 2 Thorn Volley projectiles fired pre-shot by 25%. One of the 2 Thorn Volley projectiles fired per shot. Sorry, God, they butchered this. Per shot by 25%. So it's one of the first 2. So I guess for some reason one of the first 2 is gonna be reduced by 25. That means your first couple shots there, one of them is gonna be much more accurate. So I don't know if this is gonna change that much. That's kind of a weird way of doing it, but we'll see that in game. Rejuvenating dash healing increase from 25 to 50. That's a massive increase on healing from that. That extra 25 health is really good, especially how quickly you get dash. That's going to make Lifeweaver much more survivable. On Life Grip, mobility lockout duration increase from 0.45 to 0.75 seconds. Mobility lockout duration, I guess that means while you're doing life grip, that means you're going to be stuck in place for longer while you're doing it than you were before. And then Tree of Life, 50% of Tree of Life's overhealing is now converted into overhealth, up to a maximum 100 maximum overhealth. So it does the same amount of healing, but if it goes over your health, you're going to get a little bit of that overhealth up to a maximum of 100. Which means that if you're using a tree and you're playing Zenyatta, that means that you can have a 250 HP Zenyatta chilling out in the back line with Tree of Life. So we're getting an introduction back into overhealth here as part of more Heroes kits. And this means that Tracer and Zen getting overhealed is going to be, and Genji is going to be quite a problem, but this adds more value to Tree of Life. We'll see how that affects the game overall. This is going to make it much more of a proactive ultimate instead of a reactive ultimate. So you're going to be seeing Tree of Life used much more pre-fight and then going into the fight instead of using it, you know, like midway through the fight when you want a big burst of healing and to get a sustain everybody. You're going to see this much more proactively used instead of reactive. Lucio, his crossfade, secondary fire damage boost reduced from 30 to 25%. Okay, so that just means a little bit less damage. Let's see, Mercy, her staff, secondary fire damage reduced from 30 to 25. They talked about this in the little hints here that she was going to get a little reduction, which I think is great. I think the problem with Mercy is that every time there's a hero that's just a little bit overtuned, like I said before, her staff just amplifies those effects. It makes them just busted, right? Mercy Sojourn, Mercy Pharah, Mercy Soldier, Mercy Cassidy, Mercy Ashe. Like it's always the damage boost that amplifies that overtune. And I think it's good that we're scaling this back just a little bit, but still make it where it's, you know, still getting value overall. But I think this is a good step to make sure we're not getting these insanely overpowered DPS when they're pocketed by Mercy, because that's usually is what leads to just things being out of control. Mercy Junkrat. You know, I could just keep going on. So, and then these are all co-op mode hero updates. You guys can check these out. I'm not really going to look over these too much, just because we don't really know too much about them. And I assume you guys are probably here for my analysis on the changes, considering that's usually what I talk about. So you guys can take a look at all these, the map updates. There's plenty of notes on here. Anyways, that's my patch notes update. Now for my, I guess, meta analysis, what I think is going to be happening from what I can see. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be 100% correct, but what I can see right now for what's overtuned, might ever be overtuned, is Lifeweaver's ultimate. I'm a little concerned about. Illari, the new hero, her new ult, how she functions, it seems like she's going to get a lot of healing value and a lot of ult value. So I'm assuming we're going to see Illari played. We might see Illari Lifeweaver is a support combo here coming up, especially with the amount of sustain that they can provide. Now the pressure is a little bit different, but if Illari can build up that ultimate, it means you're going to be getting a lot of fights with that big effect that the ult does, to where you can get chain reaction from the team fight. So I think we're going to see Illari. My guess is Illari, Lifeweaver will be kind of the base of this meta. Not too many tank changes that we saw here. We'll probably still see Winston. Winston has been pretty good here, and both those healers I'd say are pretty decent at it, except for Illari. It's kind of a mid-range healer, so we'll see how that affects it. D.Va, the extra booster cooldown is pretty decent. Even she's been kind of okay recently, so we might see some D.Va here. Ramatra, nothing too crazy there. Obviously his ultimate's still good, but the addition of the ultimate charge rate of that 12% is going to make it much harder to get that ultimate, so we'll be seeing about that. Bastion, on the other hand, though, I don't know if we'll be seeing them, considering Bastion, again, can be very easily countered in a lot of situations, but I think we'll see a lot more of them. I think he might just be a tiny bit overtuned now. That's just my experience. Pre this patch update, I thought he actually got a lot of good value. I played him a lot, and we saw a lot of success playing him. So I think this might just be a little bit overtuned. Outside of that, we might still see, depending on the ultimate, I mean, Kiri's Kitsune Rush is still really good. So what I'm thinking is that maybe we might see either a Kiri Illari or a Kiri Lifeweaver or a Lifeweaver Illari comp. I think of the three big supports right now, especially with Ana receiving that damage nerf. We'll be seeing about that, but those are the two supports, the three supports. I feel like we might see a lot. Again, Lifeweaver might still be bad. They keep trying to buff him, and he just doesn't get up to the point where he's like decent enough. So we might be seeing Lifeweaver, we might not. So we'll see. Anyways, that's my analysis on that. Let me know what you guys think down below about the new changes, what metas you might be thinking are coming. Yeah, and all that good stuff. So we will see you later on the next one. If you guys want to check out all the new videos that I posted today about everything that's new, I'm going to link those on the screen right now, or you can click the links below in the description to watch the next one. So anyways, keep it spooky, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.